thank God that the brothers on the rise now. Endless celebrations all in my house. Levitating now, I'm super duper fly now. London boy, but DC where I reside now. Put the time in while you always yelling time out. And I quit it 'cause I know I'm coming with it. You were sitting in the function, I was handling my minutes. Now I got the ball like Harry Potter playing Quidditch.
Absolutely. Take me. First, I want you to take me to when you went to the Coliseum to bam on those gates with the other two guys who were trying out on the walk-on. And then I want you to take me inside the bubble on the field as you look out and the lights are glaring. You can hear the crowd. You can't see anything. All you can see is the guy in front of you. Take me to those two places.
Yeah, so that first time when I walked on, that was at the practice field, and it was about late August, and like I said on another interview called The Former Athlete, really awesome interview too, another cool podcast. But I remember just knocking on the gates because the guy had just texted me, "Hey Chris, you're trying out today." After all the work that I had put, I was like, "All right." So I hit those gates super hard, and this fucking security guy looks at me and goes, "Yo, what are you doing here?" I'm like, "I'm here to try out." And like, okay, so they let me in. And the mindset that I had at that point, I was reading this book called Mind Gym. And I'm going to try and keep my expletives to a minimum. But the second that I saw those two other kids who I was trying out with, both of which ended up becoming really good friends of mine, they brought all three of us on because like I mentioned, like one of the kids played De La Salle, which is like a crazy, crazy high school in the Bay Area. They're like unbelievably good. Another one's from a big OC program, Orange County football program, and they saw all three of us could ball. So like, all right, there's a spot for each of you guys because like y'all can seriously play. But anyway, so I remember looking at these kids and I'm thinking to myself like, F these mother effers. They're not going to stand in my way. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, F the competition. And I'm over by myself. These kids are like beginning to talk amongst themselves and blah, 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 blah. But I'm over like warming up and this. I'm like, these motherfuckers are not going to stand in my way because I worked too damn hard to get here. But yeah. So, so basically, yeah. And as that kind of came out, they tried us out after a practice. So after one of the last practices, they tried us out. And what they basically had us do is the strength coach took us through like a little workout. So they set up like bags and stuff like that, and they did agility drills, and then, just did that kind of stuff. And, you show you're an athlete, you show you're competent, you show you can hang at USC. And then you finish through the line. I was finishing like 15 yards through the line after it because I wanted to like, I was like 215, 220, and I didn't want to like break down and do all that shit. So I was like, I'm just going to finish through the line, make it look good. Anyway, so they said, all right, it's time to run routes. And I was like, all right, it's time to really create some distance right now because that's all I really do. Like, I run routes. I catch passes. Like, that is all that I did. And I know these other kids were, like, linebackers or whatever. I'm like, okay, it's time to show them up. So what happens is they start getting into route running, and I give them a couple of head fakes. And I didn't run as well as I thought I could have or my potential would have. But I was like, look, if I can put myself in the position where I'm the one that they bring out of this group, I'll be straight. That'll be that. But, those 4 days after of when they said they were going to text me, but they hadn't yet, were the most like stressful days of my entire life. Up until that point. Like, granted, I'd gone through a lot of adversity to get there. And like, there's a lot of like angst and like just in your stomach of when shit's not going your way. Right. It's like, shit. Like, and I'm not sure, like, I'm a Bible nut. So like the book of Job really comes to my mind when I think about that kind of stuff. But like, it's just one thing after another. And you just feel like really like, damn, when am I going to catch a break? But those 3 days, I swear, like I was on pins and needles those 3 days. I've never been so like stressed in my entire life. But that day when they brought me, that day next to me, I'll tell you what, that was one of the best days of my life. So, one of the best days.
Absolutely.
I've told that story a couple times, but I was at dinner with my brother and my dad in this drive-through, Orange County, texted me. As I'm getting the text, I just touch it because I didn't even think twice about it. I didn't even think twice about like wanting to like, holy shit, this is the message like I've been waiting for. I like my mind just went, all right, read it, Chris. And I touched it before I even think and skimmed it. I didn't even read it what it said. And I saw we want to welcome you to the team, and I just went ape shit. But yeah,
Wow.
then to the other point of like that, I think the like being on like in the bubble, so to speak, like my experiences, what got me to play at USC was those experience, that game in high school where that bubble kind of surrounded me, so to speak. And I don't know if it was like an illusion just from the lights that I was like the lights from the school or whatever it was, but no matter how you break it down, like you're absolutely right. Like there was a bubble that I was in, and I'm sitting there looking, I'm like, holy shit, I can't see anybody except for the person in front of me. And that was the method by which I'm like, I can't be done with this. Like I know I have a torn ACL and a torn meniscus, but there's just no way I can be done with this. Like I can still ball, and this feeling in my gut of just competition and knowing that I can do more, I would go the rest of my life miserable knowing if I didn't do it. And that's part of the thing, like too, like you just got to go after your dreams, and that's just the long and the short of it. Like that's how part of my thing that I want to help in my like purpose is help kids and talk to them, and through my platform as it notably increases and whatever and my business career and my like whatever, and just help people go all around the world, and then help kids who may or may not have seen similar things that I have. Mm-hmm. And then like help them if they're getting bullied or made fun of for wanting to have big dreams. Like I want to like impart that knowledge on the people. Like you can do it. Like there isn't a thing in this world that you can't do when you put your mind to it. And I am living proof of that. So that kind of situation, you have these kind of experiences. You have these experiences in your life, like whether they just be isolated or a continual pattern of experiences that kind of change you. And one of those things that set my course for USC was that night in high school where I felt like I was in a bubble. I was really in a bubble. It felt like it was just myself and the man in front of me. And it was really one of those things where God's like, all right, here's the start. Granted, I had no freaking idea how I was going to get there. And I didn't even know how I was going to get there until, shit, guys, I got accepted to USC in June or July of that month or that year, and then I walked on in August. It wasn't until like August, it was like August like 10th or something that I finally got in with the program at USC, like my first meeting. In my first meeting, they said you can walk on in the spring, but fall's off the table. I was like, all right, whatever. Spring's fine with me. But then they texted me 2 weeks later, like, hey, you want to come walk on? I was like, shit, yeah, let's fucking go.
Who was the coach at that time?
Coach Helton is still the head coach, and he was my head coach for all my time at USC. And a lot of people give him a negative rep, but I have nothing but good things to say about Coach Helton. I have nothing but good things to say about him. He helped me make my dream come true. He's an amazing guy, and I think that once the chips fall this year, I think they're going to have a really awesome season, and all that fire Helton nonsense that I keep hearing is going to disappear.
I agree.
Dude, you know how I knew USC was really big, though? Obviously you grow up as a USC fan. You know how big it is. And you hear, like, Colin Cowherd talk about, like, top 4 programs, USC, Alabama, Oklahoma, and Ohio State. You hear those, and then Michigan's obviously thrown in there, too. But it's like that and Ohio State. I knew that USC was massive when my last game, my first year, some donor bought like one of those strips that they fly in the sky behind a plane, and it said Fire Helton around the Coliseum when we were playing Notre Dame. I'm getting off the bus and I'm looking at this freaking plane flying around this freaking stadium, and it's Fire Helton the entire time. I'm just floored. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is huge. I was like, the world.
It's crazy because one of my favorite coaches is Pete Carroll. Even though he blew that Super Bowl, but I love the razzle-dazzle offense, the razzle-dazzle style of Pete Carroll and some of the other coaches of USC history.
Pete Carroll, by far, he was the head coach when I was a kid, and I was watching USC. When I was a kid, it was Matt Leinart, Reggie Bush, Lendale White, Dwayne Jarrett, Steve Smith, and shit. Actually, my position coach at SC, Kerry Colbert, was a receiver when I was there, or when I was watching it, and he ended up being my position coach, which was one of the coolest things ever, too.
Wow.
But at that same time, they need to give Reggie his Heisman back. Now that NIL is all set, back to the conversation of NIL a little bit, they need to give that man his Heisman back. Like, that's just my opinion. Like, I think that if everyone's can make money on it now, the NCAA is like, what's the difference? It's statute of limitations. Like, the USC has him allowed back, and when Reggie was allowed back on campus, it was for the Utah game, and that was the first time that he had since he'd been like banished from campus. And that was my last year as a Trojan. He
was banished because he allegedly broke the G code and the cheat code that little DYNMYT and I were talking about. Allegedly, him or someone in his family may have took a gift from an alumni or endorsement what's the short of it?
As far as I remember, it was like Reggie's from San Diego too, and I think that the story is that, I mean, this is common knowledge, so I may or may not be butchering it, but I think that they got a house in someplace in San Diego, like towards the end of his time at USC. Like, I think he was out that next year anyways, so it's like, granted, he broke the rule, he broke the letter of the law, but now that the spirit of the law has changed, like, y'all need to fucking relook at that. That's just my opinion.
Give Reggie Bush his Heisman back. We need to start a campaign.
Yeah.
Give Reggie Bush his Heisman back. So allegedly, he was gifted a house.
I think his parents were, yeah. That's as far as I know. But at the same time, it's like, I'm sorry, like I don't know many guys outside of USC who played college football, because I was, like I said, I wasn't like a high recruit. I wasn't anything. I was a 0-star recruit. Like, walk on, complete walk on, not even a preferred walk on. I was like, all right, Chris, here's your shot, make the team. That was it. But, and that's the thing about it. Like, and that's all I needed too. That's all I needed. But the thing that I'm gonna touch on is that I didn't go to the camps. I didn't know many people, so I didn't like have relationship with guys who played at Bama or Clemson or Ohio State or anything like that. But there's like I can say without a shadow of a doubt that people are making money. They have been making money. It's just been done under the table. And that's like, everybody knows it. Everybody freaking knows it. Like, give me a break. Like, it's commonplace. Everybody talks about it. Like, you think these fools are driving cars that they can't pay for? They're from like the projects too. Like give me a break. Like, give me a break. Like, even now, allegedly,
even LeBron James's mom, when they were in the projects in Cleveland, popped up with an Escalade, allegedly living in the projects, and her son's balling out of control at high school, and ESPN2 made their career on him, following him around the high school games as a sophomore and junior.
Yeah.
Forget his senior year. It was over with. As a sophomore and junior, he had ESPN2 following him around in every game.
That's so cool. But yeah, no, it's one of those things that's like inevitably happens. Like, it's happened. Like, I can almost guarantee that it's happened. I can't say like personally, like I've seen anything because I don't know these guys.
No,
I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Allegedly,
like I'd be willing to bet that allegation is true. That's all I can say.
Yeah, and just
by the way, let me disclaimer that nobody at USC did. Nobody at USC did, because Coach Helton, obviously a man of very high moral standing, and even the guys at SC, like they would have probably like even said no, just because of the fact that it was like, you don't want to disappoint Helton. Like, and even like I know I can fucking for sure say that it didn't happen while I was there. I can guarantee you that.
That's what's
like.
up.
But I mean, it's different. Like USC, like I don't know how different programs are run. That's the thing. Like a lot of people ask me, like the most commonly asked question, whether I'm in an airport, at a restaurant, interviews, wherever the case is, like someone will come up to me and ask, "What's your opinion on Coach Helton?" And like I just said to you guys, I have nothing but good things to say about him. And because everyone's looking for the hot take, like, and I don't even have that like clout like that. But like if someone says, hey, I talked to a USC receiver who said something bad about the head coach, they're going to tell it to their friends, and then you never know who their friends are. So like, and I'm just being straight too. I love Coach Helton. He made my dream come true. Like he made my dream come true. Awesome guy, and like I enjoyed every second of playing USC. I did.
Absolutely.
Cause when I'm in your town, every ticket I sold. Yeah.